I know I've taken principled positions against governments when they try and push misinformation bills, but now that a dark money political campaign is using my likeness to try and push for a Liberal Party victory in the next election, I've changed. I'm now one of those middle-class Gen Xers. I'm going to start flying the Ukraine flag outside my home. My biggest concern this election is misinformation. Well, that and of course, touch to the ABC. Look at this. Election News. Oh, what a name. What do they do for the rest of the 3 years when an election's not on? I'm guessing they're a subsidiary of Definitely Not AstroTurf News because they do break stories like woke. Woke seems to be their version of breaking. Woke. Popular Australian YouTube commentator and Labor-friendly comedian Jordan Shanks, Friendly Geordies, has slammed the Labor Party for focusing on woke issues during the worst cost of living crisis in most Australians' living memory. Calling out the failed Indigenous voice to Parliament referendum, Shanks suggested that these moves did nothing to improve the living standards of the vast majority of Australians. Authorised by Matthew Sheehan, Advanced Australia Limited, Canberra. Hey! I didn't say that! I mean, I guess they have quoted me, so I probably did say that, but not like that! We're gonna have to solve two mysteries in this video now. Mystery number one, if this Geordies is slamming the woke Labor Party, what political party does he like? And mystery number two, who is this mysterious group of patriots, Advanced Australia, who are paying to plaster my videos all over Gosford Facebook feeds? The answer to both mysteries, respectively, is the same as the latest two-party preferred news poll. Number one, the Labor Party. Number two, the Liberal Party. God, it feels good to be in that order for once. Wow. Did you know that these monkeys have herpes? Hey, if you'd like herpes, you can always come to my live show at
Melbourne this week.
It's about UFOs. All right, now that those great mysteries have been solved, it's time to explain myself. I've always said I don't do paid ads for political parties, despite over and over and over and over again spurious allegations that I'm paid by Labor being regurgitated by legends who invariably always look like this. Bruh. Yeah. Turns out, I was unwittingly lying. I have done paid ads for political parties. If you count payment as free exposure you get from having a dark money Liberal Party front group push your videos to thousands of boomers in marginal electorates, and if you count front groups for political parties as political parties, I would have preferred to have been paid in cash or drugs or Huk Tour coin, because I got a feeling about that coin. But I guess this will have to do. So after all these years of addressing the paid shill allegations, I now need to clarify. I haven't been paid by Labor, but you could argue that I have been kinda, maybe in a way, paid by the Liberals for political advertising. Who expected that twist? So first off, thank you, Advanced Australia, the Liberal Party, for the ads. Now, let me return the favour by advertising your wonderful organisation, because you see, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. From a cursory glance at their website, Advanced Australia, well, now they're just called Advanced, but to me that's a bit woke. Renaming in the same vein of pulling down Confederate statues. Ashamed of the word Australia, are we? Disgraceful. I'll stick to the classic name, thank you very much. They appear to be the Facebook uncle equivalent of the Facebook auntie organisation GetUp. You know those groups that seem to exist purely to scare boomers by popping things on their feeds that they don't like and promising them that they'll go away if they sign a petition that harvests their emails? Save the quackers! Or fuck the quackers! If there was a difference, it would be that Advance Australia appears to be even more enamoured with the political tactic of fecklessly screeching with even vaguer goals than GetUp's, with petition campaigns such as Stop Immigration! I guess by voting for the Liberals, the party with the weakest immigration policy? Pledge to put the Greens last! Why? Because the Greens and you guys are in a competition for most inconsequential e-petition? And then of course my favourite, this one. It's not even a demand. Weak, woke, broke. What? Weak, woke, broke. Well, sign me up. Sounds like an amazing stand-up special. I might even call my next show that. This one's currently about aliens in the following cities. But these dumb petitions aren't actually that dumb, really, if you think about it. They're quite clever. They're just data harvesting operations. Everyone in politics does it. It's nothing new. What is kind of new, though, is the sheer amount of money Advanced Australia are soliciting in order to import US culture war issues into the public consciousness. Issues that are largely irrelevant in Australia. Basically, they're just getting a fuck ton of untraceable cash just to call anything that Labor does woke. Which is ironic, as they're named after a song that was basically the woke side of the Voice referendum of its day. Our national anthem used to be God Save the Queen until Wokey Whitlam changed it to Advance Australia Fair. Soon after the original change, Malcolm Fraser of the Libs changed it back, but it was too late. Peak woke had set in and destroyed the fabric of society. Then it got even worse with Hawke, or should we say, woke. Walk. Anyway, he, and sorry for assuming his gender, he got in and made it the national anthem. So if you really were as based as you were advertising, surely you should change your name to God Save Australia. Advance Australia was founded in 2018 by a bunch of Liberal Party operatives and donors. Its inaugural national director, Gerard Benedette, was a staffer for former Queensland LNP Treasurer Tim Nichols. You know, the guy that did those huge public service firings in 2012? That's the seed. Tony Abbott is, or was, one of their advisors, as was Liberal Senator Jacinta Price. It's very obviously a dark money front for the Liberals to run shitty Infowar Black Ops. Stuff the Liberals could not run on their official channels, like that ad they made with my content. Can you imagine if Nicole Flint found out I was on the party payroll? She would accept it wholeheartedly because she's never had an original thought in her life. But yeah, this is Advance's MO. They pretend to be populist in that Steve Bannon circa 2016 way. They pump up some shit articles and amazing videos about Labor being too woke on Facebook and, I don't know, just hope for the best, I think. I don't know how effective that is anymore, but the amount of dark cash is concerning. Like, I'll go into it soon, but they get millions in donations each year, and they successfully campaigned against the Voice to Parliament. Funnily enough, if anyone clicks on the video of mine that Advance are promoting, it kind of explains why groups like Advance and their tactics are really damaging and disingenuous, because really, just as stupid as the woke are the anti-woke. Well, maybe not as stupid. I mean, how can they be with so much common sense? And obviously, without the anti-woke, we wouldn't get such amazing comedies as Lady Ballers.
In a world where women's sports is being transformed with the most triggering comedy of the year.
But any group that spends millions of dollars campaigning for or against the adoption of new sensitive language or a government policy that won't do a single thing, i.e. The Voice, is fucking insane. Or has a sinister ulterior motive. The ulterior motive for both Voice proponents and opponents really was to position their side of politics as the anti-elitist virtuous side without proposing anything that materially changes the lives of the majority of Australians. And I'm not saying Labor hasn't pushed through big policies that have materially improved people's lives. I say they do that in virtually every video we upload. In fact, I said it in the very video Advance are sharing. Take it away, me! And there are a lot of great accomplishments for this Labor government to campaign on. Tony Burke's industrial relations reforms, huge. Same job, same pay, huge. Fixing the Stage 3 tax cut so 85% of Australians get a larger tax cut. In fact, barely anyone knows this, but right now, Labor are fighting for a tax avoidance crackdown on multinational companies and a crackdown on deceptive supermarket pricing and supermarket land banking. You can find the links to those videos below. I was just saying that I think that Labor got too culturally tied and too enamored by the Democrats, who actually did trade running a state for what is now record-breaking virtue signaling about being on the right side of history. I mean, look at this shit. Fuck me, Corey. 25 hours of whining. Yay! That's worth shitting your pants for? And then on the inverse, because these woke ideas are so toxic to those earning a lower income, the other elite moneyed side of politics can now pretend to be sticking up for the battlers by railing against nothing but symbolism. Sorry, this is a long way of saying, just because Advance Australia triggers the labs as in Labor, trust me, it'll catch on, it doesn't mean that they're genuinely populist or grassroots. Case in point, another advisor to Advance is Dr. David Adler, president of the Australian Jewish Association and lib-based and epic shitter poster. Someone asked me why you won't take a single white South African farmer, because they might share Aussie values, assimilate and not vote for Labor. Yeah, Dr. Dave, it is like that, isn't it? I mean, if you need any more reason to doubt Advance's populist credentials, take a look at the Adlers and AJ's Twitter crash out over the Libertarian Party saying they don't support Australia being involved with Israel. They ain't Australia first. In the 2022 to 2023 financial year, Advance raised $5.2 million. Yet unlike the Bleeding Hearts at GetUp, who publish real-time data on their funding, half of Advance's funding that year is secret as it falls under the disclosure threshold and Advance refuses to release it. But we do know who some of the big spenders are. The largest donation, $1 million, came from a 94-year-old used car salesman from Perth, which, to be fair, I think the most sinister thing about that isn't the donor. Surely Advance Australia conned that man. No way did that used car salesman get his bang for buck. Maybe it was karma for all the years as a used car salesman, and to get conned back by the political equivalent. But they do have some actual creeps donating to them. For instance, one of their regular donors is a man called Simon Fenwick, and it needs to be said, that is a really unremarkable crap name. Simon made his money in a really unremarkable crap way too, being a Wall Street fund manager. He's just your typical run-of-the-mill oligarch. Shit name, made his money through financialisation and rent-seeking, not through innovation, sits on the board of the Institute of Public Affairs, which is another front of the Liberal Party. So all around great guy. Other donors include Sam Kennard of Kennard Storage fame. That's an even more boring way to amass a fortune. Empty buildings that people pay you to put their shit in. This is why I'm really excited about Labor's donations reforms. We get to find out all the boring people that donated to Advance Australia and, more importantly, all the boring ways they made their money. Too bad the crossbench blocked it, so Labor had to up the disclosure limit to $5,000 from the original $1,000. But now you guys get the gist of what Advance Australia is all about, and hopefully you get the gist of why every time someone puts in the comments, "You never criticize Labor." First off, I do. That's why this video exists. But just know that every time I do it, it appears like there is a well-financed dark money campaign highlighting that I did say something critical about the Labor Party. That's how skewed the media in this country is. And that video was from months ago, dredged up for the election. Anyway, it's time for my message directly to Advance Australia. I know you pushed my video where I ostensibly railed against Labor's woke agenda. I know I said the word woke, but you have to understand, I'm still a little bit woke. I still believe in consent. You should have asked me before running an ad campaign based on my videos. I would have said yes, but that's beside the point. Now I have no choice but to violate your consent. That's right, I'm biblically woke. You know those Judeo-Christian values you supposedly want to champion? Eye for an eye, ad for an ad? I think that's the passage. Guess what? I've changed the title and thumbnail of my video. You want to know what you're paying good dark money to advertise now? The Liberals will privatise Medicare. There you go. Now Liberal Party funds are going towards funding a Mediscare campaign. It's about time Advance Australia gave some decent info to the people they're targeting with their paid ads. Thanks again for my only paid sponsorship for the election, Libs. To commemorate this shocking turn of events, we're selling shirts. This is my favourite shirt of the collection. It's the Shill shirt. We're making a special limited edition for 3 days only. Confirmed Liberal Party Shill. On sale now. Get them in a combo with the Make Dutton Opposition Leader hat and save, because we want them out for the election.